Welcome to the Jefferson Fisher podcast, where I'm on a mission to make your next conversation the one that changes everything. If you enjoy learning tools to improve your communication, I'm going to ask you to follow this podcast. And if you would leave a review, give it a star, like anything helps, and it matters a whole lot to me because I look at it all also. I want to let you know that my new book, titled The Next Conversation, is officially out on pre-order. It is a book that's going to give you everything you need, the power to change everything in your life simply by what you say next. On top, that if you're looking for ways to further and practice your communication skills, I'm going to encourage you to join the Jefferson Fisher School of Communication. It's an online membership and it is popping right now. Y'all, a lot of exciting things going on there, wonderful things, and I'm really excited about it. You can find all the links down there in the show notes, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Have you ever found yourself struggling to let go, whether it's what somebody thinks about you, how they treat you, or what they say to you, or maybe it's the choices and actions in their own life? Well, today I've brought you somebody who needs no introduction. She is a mother of 3 amazing humans, a wife to a husband, Chris, for almost 30 years, and an attorney whose experience is in criminal defense up in New York City. The one, the only, Mel Robbins. Mel, thank you so much for helping. Today, Jefferson, has anyone ever told you you're a great communicator? As you're sitting there going, have you ever tried to let go? I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. I wonder. Recapio Creative. AI, YouTube, summarize or chat with AI, read insights in seconds, save hours, translate to any language, try for free, sponsor. Who he's having on this is going to be great. Yeah, no, sorry. Listen, I'm eager to listen. Yeah, me too. Really excited about it. Mel, as you know that, and we've had the chance to establish a great friendship, which I'm so grateful for, is that the people that are listening right now care very much about how they communicate. And the question I first want to ask you is, how important is self-communication now? What does Mel Robbins say to herself? How does Mel Robbins talk to herself? That's a fantastic question. No, I'm serious, because how you talk to yourself matters. And I'm right now, and how I spoke to myself. My self-talk was very different for the first 52 years of my life from how it is now. I heard somebody, there's an incredible woman who I'm sure, and if, as you're listening to us, you don't recognize this name, that's okay. I'm going to tell you what she shared with me. Her name is Dr. Julie Smith. And she said, recently to me, she said, now, Mel, I want you to imagine the experience of what it would be like to be locked in a room with your childhood bully for a year. Like, how would that feel? And I was like, awful. I mean, and if you just imagine the person that kind of picked on you, or that you were kind of afraid of, or the kind of mean person that you avoided in your school, imagine being locked in a room with them for a year. It would be horrible. And then she said, well, great. Now imagine what it would be like to be locked in that room instead with your best friend. And that obviously would be better, because you'd have a companion. You'd have somebody that you could have fun with. You'd have somebody that would cheer you up and make you feel hopeful, even though you're stuck in this room together, to play games with, to see the brighter side of things, to make you laugh. And I love that visual, because that is your self-communication. The person that you're locked in a room with is a visual example of how you talk to yourself. And as I explain that metaphor for you, and as you visualize it for yourself, just the experience of what it would be like to be locked in a room with a bully versus locked in a room with a best friend, you could viscerally feel what that would be like. And I think what I didn't realize for a long time is just how loud and critical my self-talk and self-communication was, that I didn't see the things that I did well. I saw everything I didn't do right. I could have done 100 things a day. And I'm sure as you're listening to Jefferson and me right now, you've done 100 things already today, even if it's only 10,000 in the morning. You've done 100 things correctly. You fed the dog. You got out of bed. You selected a podcast, like so many things, like check, 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 but you don't see any of those. You probably have more of a voice that's a bully. And that was my voice for 52 years. I was just laser focused on what I was doing wrong. The one thing I didn't get to, I would look in the mirror and pick myself apart. And I think that there's this mistake in society that believes that if you are tough, or if you are hard on yourself, that somehow that is motivating you. It actually has the opposite effect. Like somehow a lot of us are very successful in life, or we get through the day despite the fact that our self-communication and the way we talk to ourselves sounds more like a bully than a best friend. And so a couple years ago, through a combination of just researching a project that I was working on and getting serious about therapy and working on some things in my marriage, and really just saying I don't understand why I've achieved all this stuff, but I am so burnt out and I feel like I army crawl through the day. And it was surprising to me. Although looking back, it doesn't seem surprising when you think about self-talk as either being locked in a room with a bully or locked in a room with a best friend. It was surprising to me how long I lived with a bully in my head. And what I will tell you is this: I am still productive, but I am more motivated. I am happier and I am able to see the things that are going well because I've changed the way I communicate to myself. I love that. Yeah, I thank you for taking on us on this like 360 journey. I love Dr. Julie Smith, whose new book, Open Wind, is out and is wonderful. It was so much of how you put yourself out there. You're very open about your anxiety, the self-doubt, so many things that you didn't learn about yourself until much later in life. So what would you say to the person listening to us right now, who, if they were in the room with us, would say, Mel, I'm getting close. I feel like I am on the edge right now. I've almost hit my limit. I'm at a place where I feel lost. What would you say to that person who is struggling right now? And where do you draw from to give them the encouragement that there is more for them ahead? There's a number of things I want to say. First of all, if you can admit to yourself you've had it and that you're stuck, or that just the way that life is going is just not working anymore. What I'm going to tell you is going to sound awful, is congratulations, because that's step one.
Yeah, step one of changing your life is
having the courage to admit to yourself that the way that your life is going right now and the way that it feels for you no longer works for you. That's it. See, I think I misinterpreted what stuckness was for a long time. I thought stuck meant I'm still no, still is what happened before. That's when you were going through autopilot and you're sort of just going through the motions when you get to the point where you're like, I've had it. I'm stuck. I'm frustrated. I'm lost. I feel scared about this. That's good news because it means the energy inside you is starting to rattle around. You're no longer on autopilot. You just woke up and went, this doesn't work. And so I want you to, first things first, pat yourself on the back because you have declared that the way that life feels isn't how you want it to feel. And that's step one. And you can't change your life without actually doing that first. So that's why I'm going to say, give yourself credit for recognizing you deserve more than where you're at. Number two, I have found that in moments like that, the most important thing that I can do next, once I say the way that my life feels no longer works for me, I need to do something. I deserve to feel happy. I deserve to feel better. I deserve to look at the next chapter of my life and build something that makes me feel a little bit better and a little bit prouder of myself. So once you do that, here's what I want you to do. I want you to use a tool that I've used over and over and over again to help me in these moments, because it is daunting when you go, okay, I know I don't know. I know I don't want my life to feel like this, but I don't know what the heck I want. No problem. You don't have to know exactly what you want in your life in order to change it for the better. Because if you don't know what specific career move you want to make, or relationship move you want to make, or you know what project you want to take on, or whether you're not, you want to move somewhere, or what, no problem, because the single best project to take on when you don't know what to do to change your life is take on improving yourself. So make it a project to either improve your health, or make it a project to improve your mental health, or make it a project to learn a new skill. And the fact that you have chosen to find time to hit play on this episode, invest in listening to something that could teach you how to be a better communicator. That's an example of what I'm talking about. Because if you make yourself and your own improvement just the project you're going to focus on, that I've just spent the last 50 years taking care of everybody else for this next chapter of my life, for the next 3 months, the next year, whatever you want. I'm just going to make my health a priority. You do that and you will start to feel different. You will start to feel better. You will start to have something to focus on other than the aspects of your life that are dragging you down. And simply creating that as a project actually will help you build some forward momentum. And once you start to build forward momentum, now you're going to start to feel more energized and excited to maybe attack your career or attack the relationship that's not working or attack some bigger problems. But if you don't know what you want out in the future, deserve to just make yourself healthier. Because if you can do that, you're going to feel better in a week or a month. And then that's going to give you new insight into what you actually might want to take on. So that's step number 2, because a lot of times when people say, I want to change, and then I don't know what I want, that not knowing is what continues to keep you feeling stagnant. Now, third thing I want you to do, because I have come to believe, Jefferson, after 56 years of my own challenges and successes and struggles and things that I've changed in myself and also doing the kind of work that I do, I have come to believe that the single biggest thing that stands in someone's way and stops them from changing their life or changing their job or becoming financially secure or whatever it may be, the single biggest thing, it's not your ability, it's not your skill level. The single biggest thing that stands in people's way is discouragement. This sense that as I sit here in this moment, and I'm however old that I am, I'm telling myself this self-talk, that I'm stuck and that no matter what I do, it's not going to work. And things may work out for Mel or they may work out for Jefferson, but they don't work out for a person like me. Like if you have a sense of discouragement and the self-talk keeps you feeling discouraged, no advice, no plan, no nothing is going to help. Because the discouragement convinces you not to do anything. And so I have this exercise that I've done in my own life over and over and over again that helps me shake that discouragement. And it's this: if you're in a moment in your life where you're feeling very stuck, you can grasp, okay, I got it. Mel, I'm going to work on myself or I'm going to get a new job, whatever. But I just have this sense, it's not going to work. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to look backward and look all the way back through your life. Because when you look backwards through your life, what you're going to notice is that your life is this meandering path of things that have happened, good and bad, to you, that have all allayed you to this point. And even your lowest, scariest, saddest, most heartbreaking moments were still part of the fabric of experiences that led you to this moment, all of which gave you skills. It gave you wisdom. It brought you to where you are now. And so I think it's very easy to sit in this moment and see how even the lowest moments of your life actually allayed you somewhere better in the future. You can do the same thing forward to the future. So if you can look backwards and see evidence of your life pointing you to a place where you are now, even if where you are now is stuck, you're still better in many ways. And where you were way back when, you can also stand in this moment where you feel stuck and a little lost and a little discouraged. And you can remind yourself that this moment too is but a brick on the path that is my life. And I choose to believe that there is a lesson in this moment that is meant for me. And I may not understand why I need to be stuck right now, but I choose to believe that 10 years from now, I'm going to look back on this moment here and I'm going to understand exactly why this was part of a better future that I can't see right now. And that's how I've been able to leverage hope and leverage optimism when I can't quite trust in what's going to happen. Because I either don't know what's going to happen, I don't have a clear vision about what I want, but I can trust in my own life experience that I can figure it out and somehow it's going to make sense. And that has always just helped lift that fog and that heaviness that despair can cast on you in those moments. Wow. I mean, there's just so much there. I feel like that could have been an entire episode, just those 3 points right there. I mean, that is such good wonderful, applicable advice that anybody can use right away in the way they see things in my world. What I like to teach is that conflict is your catalyst for positive change everywhere you've been in life. It is you've lost that relationship because of a conflict that has led you to a new one. You've had a conflict that has caused you to leave that job, to create a new one. That the civil rights movement is from conflict that has happened where somebody said, our whole career as attorneys, somebody says, you know what? Hey, I don't like that. That's not right. And it's through that change that we have those positive outcomes. I've also heard it where it's rejection, is misdirection, or redirection, I think is the right term. Can I say something? Here's the thing, because it builds on what you're talking about with conflict. Yeah, the mistake that we make is we think that the organizing conflict is what's happening out there. I don't think that's necessarily true. And if you're stuck or struggling right now, or you're in the middle of a big reinvention or a change that you want to make, I want you to own the fact that the actual conflict that is also is the internal conflict that you're feeling, because you know you're not in the right job, know you're not in the right relationship, that you're not taking good care of yourself, that something is off. And so that internal conflict is hardwired into that GPS system in your body that is trying to keep you aligned and on a path that is aligned with your values and what you deserve in life. And so I love that you're starting with this idea of conflict, because, people get stuck and frustrated and lost, and then they get scared because that feels very agitating and disorienting. That's a really good conflict, because it means that internally your body is trying to wake you up and have you go ding, 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 ding. This job doesn't work for me. I shouldn't be treated like this. I'm no longer happy in this relationship. I need to do something about it. Yes, it is that. Whenever you have that internal struggle, instead of seeing it as, oh, this is the worst thing. I can't believe this. My life is in shambles. Flip that mindset to say, my body is at work. I am going through growing pains. I am coming out on the other side of it. My body is preparing me to be a different person. It is the metamorphosis of how you're going to be it is you are in your cocoon at that moment. So I love that concept. This podcast is sponsored by Cozy Earth. Now, the whole reason I haven't found out about Cozy Earth is because I already had their products. Their bed sheets are on my bed right now. And let me tell you, they're the most comfortable thing I've ever slept on. I wear their hoodies, their sweatpants. My wife loves their pajamas. So if you're like me and when you get home, you just want to chill and be cozy, look no further than Cozy Earth. You can go to cozyearth.com, Jefferson, and you can use the code Jefferson for 40% off as cozyearth.com. Jefferson, and use the code Jefferson for 40% off. I want to make sure that we go into some things that I know without a doubt are going to help every listener here. There is something that is right now a phenomenon in the world. And if you don't know about it, I'm going to tell you. You've been living under a rock. It is Mel Robbins' book, The Let Them Theory. I have my copy right there, #1. New York Times bestseller, #1 on Audible, #1 on Amazon, number one Sunday Times. This is the year of Mel, and I already have my ticket. So if you're not on it, jump on board, because it's going places. I love it. Mel, I love what you're doing and what you're putting out to the world. And I think that it's come to a place where it's almost has a life of its own. It's just an absolute movement. What I want to ask for those that are listening, again, we focus on the communication aspect is at a very root level. Would you explain to the listener right now, how does the Let Them Theory improve their difficult conversations? Well, all I'm going to say is that Jefferson has the single best advice on the planet when it comes to the things to say in response to difficult people and how to have difficult conversations. And so here's the thing, though, is that if in a moment when you're dealing with somebody who is gaslighting you or belittling you, or they're getting very argumentative, if you allow your fear of that person or your fear of conflict or your desire to be liked to rise up, all of those emotions and feelings will prevent you from using the T fear. Because you can know what to say in a moment, But if you're suddenly afraid of somebody else's reaction, if you say, I feel how I feel, we see things differently. If you're afraid of that, and for 30 years of your life, you have just gone silent when you're nervous that somebody's going to be mad at you, or you're nervous somebody's going to be disappointed, or you're nervous that somebody's going to try to guilt. Let them theory is going to give you power, and it is also going to teach you how to not allow those very normal fears to stop you from using the tools that Jefferson is teaching you. So let's just take an example of, like, we'll go light to heavy. So let's just take the example of guilt. Let's say that you have a friend, and your friend is having a 38th birthday party, and they've invited 12 people. And so you're all going to go to a restaurant, and it's going to be, we all been there. There's 12 people. It's a loud restaurant. You can't talk to anybody. Then we're going to split the check. It's Thursday night. You have no interest in going. And the only reason why you are feeling like you should go is because you think your friend is going to be passive aggressive. You think your friend is going to be disappointed. This is where the let them theory comes in order to make the decision you want to make, which is, I'm not going in order to have the difficult conversation, which for many of us is simply picking up the phone and saying, hey, Jefferson, I just love you. I really want to celebrate for you for your birthday. I don't have it in me to be at a big party this week, but I would love to take you out on Sunday, and just the two of us go for a hike and we spend alone time together. That'd be incredible. That conversation for a lot of people is terrifying, because I don't want to have to deal with your emotions. But if you start to use the let them theory, which is let them be disappointed, let them try to guilt you, let them even be a little passive aggressive with you. Oh, you can't. Are you sure? I really wanted you there. It's such a bummer. Oh, really? Let them feel what they feel. Let them express what they express. And what happens then? When you let other people be who they are and be who they're not, and you understand that you can never control what somebody else says, you can't control their emotions, you can't control immature behavior. So let them act how they're going to act. But don't ever let your fear of what they're going to do stop you from having the courage of making decisions that work for you. And so the theory is two parts. The first part is, anytime you get nervous around somebody else, or you're annoyed, or you're afraid, or you start people pleasing, or you're about to use the tools for Jefferson, and then you go to freeze, just say, let them be disappointed. They're allowed to be disappointed. Let them be upset. They're allowed to be upset. Let them misunderstand my intention here. Then let me remind myself that I get to choose what I do with my time and energy. I get to choose what I think about this, and I get to choose what I do with my emotions. Let me tell this person the truth, and then let them have their reaction. And so it creates this boundary between you and everybody else that allows you to understand what's your responsibility to manage and what's not. And what's always your responsibility to manage is your health, your time, your energy, and your truth. What's not your responsibility to manage is another adult's emote reaction, or another adult's communication style. That's theirs. So let them do what they're going to do. Let them say what they're going to say. Let them be who they're going to be. And let me show up in a way that's aligned with my values, and communicate as clearly as I can. Apologize for what I need to apologize for, and then move on like a mature adult. It's so simple, and it is yet incredibly powerful. Now, I have some of my own personal stories I'm going to share with you of how immediately the let them theory just kind of came to light in my own life and my own stories and experience. What I want to ask real quick is a question that maybe a listener has right now, and that is, where is the balance between applying let them theory and also making sure where you can hold somebody accountable? Is there a way to use lean theory too much where you're going too far with it? Have you ever seen somebody maybe apply it too far to where they're almost being too passive? It's a great question, because I don't think you can hold other people accountable. I think we have to start holding ourselves accountable for telling the truth, for living according our values, for apologizing when our choices and decisions have unintended impact on other people. I feel like instead of trying to everybody else accountable, really stop giving your power to other people and focus on the second part of the theory, which is the let me part. Let me hold myself accountable to my own standards and operating with a level of compassion and character that makes me proud of myself. Because when you understand your intentions and when your actions are aligned with what you know to be true and with your best efforts to be a good person and to be compassionate and to make decisions that you know certainly are the best decisions for you.